Howdy everyone, and welcome back to Flow Roofing's frequently asked question mini-series number 12 about moss and algae. This one's going to be a doozy. Short answer, long answer. Does moss or algae actually damage the roof, or is it just cosmetic? There's a huge misconception that your roofing shingles that have this algae protection is going to prevent moss from growing. Now, if you got a copper coated ceramic granule or zinc granule up in there, typically, yes, it will help, but it's designed for the algae, which is not the moss. So if you're in a heavily wooded area, or if you got a steep slope roof that's steep enough and the north end gets a lot of shade, bird poop, squirrels, other trees, wind is going to carry that moss onto the roof, and it's going to grow immediately if you don't maintain it. But the algae is going to be okay. You don't have to worry about the algae. That's a short answer. The long answer is what it does to the roof, okay? It's, on the algae side, going to be fairly limited to anything but cosmetics. Algae is typically associated with humidity. If you've ever been to Florida, Texas, you'll see streaks. I even got it on the Oregon coast area, but you'll see this black streak effect that is algae growing in a way that maybe there was like a zinc copper coated ceramic granule on the roof. Maybe there was a penetration above, and you can see that there's metal, like a raw steel or zinc coated metal penetration, and then there's no zinc below it because that metal is inhibiting the algae from growing. Okay, but if you have an older roof, then the effect of the granules reducing the chances that algae is going to grow fades away. Again, they're like a slow release, 10-year. Now most of them are 15-year. The best ones are 25-year. Malarkey Legacy is a 25-year algae guarantee. Malarkey Vista is a 15, and they're all using 3M granules. Everyone knows 3M, the tape company. They're massive. And so the difference between algae and moss is that algae's aesthetic, whereas moss can physically harm the roof. So I'm from the Oregon coast down in Florence, and we get a lot of moss. Like there's lichens hanging from the tree. It looks beautiful, but when it lands on your roof, the moss tufts will find themselves nestled between the shingles, where water will typically sit a little more because it's polar. And so as it's sitting in between those shingles, it's not wicking down the roof as well. And that's one of the reasons why you want a steeper roof. You don't want the water to sit on your roof, right? Because then you're not going to have to worry about moss. People think, oh, steeper roof, less debris. Maybe with metal, but for moss considerations on asphalt roofs, and this would be one of the only questions where we're not having to worry as much about commercial for systems. You're not going to see this type of growth on TPO, PVCs, even metals. Asphalt being a petroleum-based organic product, moss is like, yay, I can sink my roots into that. So the issue, is it's growing in between your shingles, is that it will start small and you won't even know it, okay? And it's typically going to be more associated with the shadier sides, the north ends of your roof. And with that, the issue is not necessarily that it's beautiful and that it's loving its life sitting there on your roof, growing, flowing. It's that during an ice-related event, because it's so saturated with water, and because moss loves water, it will expand, and it can pop the seals on your system. We've seen moss grow as soon as 5 years on north sides of new roofs. And it's all going to come down to your maintenance habits. How you take care of anything is how that thing is going to last. Okay, so you want to see 250,000 miles plus out of your Toyota, you're going to change the oil. You're going to change the tires. You're going to make sure everything's tuned, smooth, ready to flow. Okay? Your roof is an asset to your future. It's an asset to your peace of mind. It's an asset to your bank account. It is an asset for your asset. Your roof takes care of you. You should take care of your roof. Okay? Simple enough. What's the best way, I believe, to remove moss, it's going to be soft bristle brush. It's not going to be a metal bristle. It's not going to be and you're just brushing the moss. You're not touching the roof, okay? I have a big issue with soft washes because not all soft washes are actually soft. Some people literally will power wash a roof. I've seen people shooting their guns up the shingles and then to like not be on the roof, they're shooting up the roof so that they can try to get the moss off, and they're literally breaking seals on shingles, blowing shingles backwards. It's not a good story. So not all soft washes are created equal. I know, not all roofing companies take the same approach. Not all roofing companies, believe it or not, can even do repairs or maintenance because they're set up just to be a sales organization, okay? Flow Roofing puts repair, maintain, then restore before replacement because we want you to receive the best ROI, the best return on the investment because roofs are absurdly expensive these days. Materials is going to be the thing that changes the price, really, if you're considering replacement, but it makes a lot more sense to try to get the best ROI out of the current system you have. Take care of it. So put a little money up front. It's like an oil change. Get your annual inspections. Make sure you're not going to be set up for failure in the wintertime, so you're not having to call someone out for something that could have been prevented had you acted 3 to 6 months in advance. Okay, we just had a question we covered right before this, visible leaks with interior damage. We're still addressing leaks right now in February. We've got people discovering issues in February, but wouldn't they have been better off to find out if they would have been good to go for the winter, even whether or not that it showed right away or it took a little longer, if they would have just jumped on it back in September or October, okay? Frustrates us. We're like, people don't care. They just like out of sight, out of mind. It's like, I don't want to spend money on things that I don't see. Like, it doesn't benefit my life. I'd rather get my Netflix subscription. So anyway, algae is fairly cosmetic. Moss, also, I believe moss secretes a little bit of acid, breaks things down a little bit more. I've seen some beautiful moss roofs actually, and I'm like, it's a vibe. You're like, oh shit, it's a nice looking mossy roof, but it's not healthy, and it tells me a lot about the property owner. Maybe they're trying to be eco-friendly or whatever, but it is definitely a liability to the security of the building because you'll likely have to deal with leaks sooner or later. And so you're going to have premature aging. You're going to have to deal with more repairs down the line. And it's going to cost something no matter what. It's going to be expensive to fix the issue when it happens, or you got to spend a little money to maintain and take care of it right then and there, remove it at that time. So we'll move on to the next one, which is going to be, can gutters cause roof leaks or structural damage? Here we go.